Counterpoint, the general knowledge music quiz, chaired by Paul Gambaccini.
Hello, welcome to Counterpoint from Salford, where we're the guests of the BBC Philharmonic. We're here with our audience in the impressive space where the orchestra rehearses and records. Also with us are three music enthusiasts about to be tested in the College of Musical Knowledge. Let's meet today's trio.
I'm Sue Bates, originally from Ashton-under-Lyne and now from Barrow-upon-Soar in Leicestershire.
I'm Bill CAWLEY. I'm a checkout operator from Leek in Staffordshire.
Hello, I'm Roger Mason. I'm from Littleborough. And in my spare time, I'm an Army Reserve bandsman.
You're all very welcome. The contest begins with a round of general knowledge music questions, which come to you in rotation. You'll get 2 points if you get your own question right, but if you get it wrong or can't answer, the others can buzz in for 1 bonus point. We go in alphabetical surname order, so it's Sue Bates who gets today's first question. In which English city will you find the Henry Watson Music Library?
Shrewsbury.
I'm sorry, that's not right. And Bill CAWLEY
Edinburgh.
also gets it wrong. And Roger, would you like to guess an English city?
London?
No. It's Manchester, in the Central Library. Bill CAWLEY. Sir John Barbarolli was a frequent visitor to that library. He'd hop over just across the road from the Free Trade Hall, one-time home of the Halle Orchestra. Here he conducts the Halle in part of a symphony. Which one?
Walton's first.
I'm sorry, that's not correct. Would anybody like to pick it up? Roger Mason buzzes in and says...
Vaughan Williams is second.
And he's correct. It's known as the London Symphony. Roger, here's your own question. Sir Arthur Sullivan wrote the music of the 1882 fairy opera Iolanthe. But who composed the music of the 1892 opera Iolanta?
Edward German.
I'm sorry, it wasn't. And Bill CAWLEY says?
Loughborough.
No. And Sue Bates doesn't want to offer a guess. It was actually Tchaikovsky. Apart from the title, it bears no resemblance to the Gilbert and Sullivan work. Sue Bates, you're about to hear an excerpt from one of Puccini's earliest successes, based on a novel by the Abbé Prévost. You have to name the opera.
Tra voi belle brune bionde si nasconde giovinetta maga e vezzosa dalla rosa che m'aspetta. Sei tu bionda stella, dillo a me, alisatemi il destino ed il divino viso ardente che mi innamori, che io avvegga e adori eternamente.
I've no idea.
Does anyone know from which opera that comes? Bill CAWLEY?
Cinderella.
No, not Cinderella.
La Bohème.
And Roger guesses La Bohème, and he's also incorrect. It's Manon Lescaut, and the singer was Jussi Björling. Bill CAWLEY. In April 2018, a blue plaque was unveiled at Bushy Mead's Sixth Form School in Hertfordshire, in memory of a star of the musical world who attended the school at one time. While there, he met a fellow pupil with whom he went on to form one of the most successful pop duos of the 1980s. Whom does the plaque commemorate?
George Michael.
It is, and the fellow pupil was, of course, Andrew Ridgeley. Roger Mason. Eleanor Tomlinson, best known for her role as Demelza in the TV drama series Poldark, released her first album in 2018. Tales from Home is a collection of folk-influenced covers, and it features this song, originally heard in a 1968 British musical film. After we've heard it, I'd like you to name the film.
A gentle breeze from Hushabye Mountain softly blows, O love. to sail your worries away. It isn't far to Hushabye Mountain, and your boat waits down by the quay.
Chitty chitty bang bang.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang it is for 2 points. Sue Bates, it's your turn again. 50 years ago, in 1968, the Beatles launched the Apple record label. Its releases dominated the British charts for many weeks. Its first single, the Beatles' own Hey Jude, was replaced at number 1 by the second Apple release, sung by a young Welsh singer who had won ITV's Opportunity Knocks and whose disc was produced by Paul McCartney. Who was that singer?
Won't come. No.
Bill CAWLEY
Mary Hopkins.
says, it's Mary Hopkin, singular, but Mary Hopkin is enough for your bonus point. Those Were the Days was then in turn replaced at number 1 by Joe Cocker's version of With a Little Help from My Friends. So it was a Beatle-dominated autumn. Bill, here's your own question. We're about to hear from a colorful character born Jean-Philippe Smets. This was by far his best-selling disc, selling 1 million copies after its release in 1961. Under what name did he become famous?
Venez les copains, tapez les mains, ouais, on va faire le twist. C'est le nouveau rock, rien n'y résiste. N'hésitons pas, faites comme moi, suivez bien mes pas. Rythme le twist, ouais, donne-moi la main là. Et tu t'y prends bien. Continue comme ça, un tour autour de moi, balance encore tes bras, et bien sûr mon cœur, et rythme le twist.
Johnny Ray.
I'm sorry, it was not Johnny Ray. Does anyone else know who that singer was? He was known as the French Elvis. And Sue Bates.
It wasn't Johnny Hallyday, was it?
It was. Don't be so pessimistic. You get a bonus point. That was, of course, his version of Let's Twist Again. Roger Mason, originally scored for brass band, which suite by Elgar features sections called Worcester Castle, The Cathedral, and Tournament?
The Seventh Suite.
That's right, the Severn Suite. Sue Bates, your next clip of music comes from a 1960s TV series remade not too long ago. Please name this series.
Persuaders.
Oh, I'm sorry it wasn't the Persuaders. That was the opening title sequence of The Prisoner. And I can recommend a visit to Portmeirion. Bill CAWLEY, what is the specific connection between the following operas? Dr. Faust by Busoni, Lulu by Berg, Moses and Aaron by Schoenberg, and Tales of Hoffmann by Offenbach.
They're all set in Berlin.
I'm sorry, that's not it. And Sue Bates says,
They appeared after the death of the composer.
I'm looking at David Kenrick, our adjudicator. Nope, he says no. Roger Mason.
No.
They were all left unfinished by their respective composers at the time of their death. Sue, you were almost there. Back to Roger Mason for the last question in this round. This is a piece by a British composer with a particular resonance this year of 2018. Can you tell me who composed it and why it has such a resonance?
Yes, it's the March of the Suffragette Women by Dame Ethel Smythe.
That is correct, and the reason it's appropriate is...
It's the anniversary of the right to vote. Women.
That's right, the centenary year of women achieving the vote. You're quite right. And so, at the end of the opening round, the scores are in third place with 1 point, Sue Bates. Lying second with 3 points is Bill CAWLEY. And in the lead with 7 points is Roger Mason. Those rankings will determine the order in which our competitors choose their individual topics in round 2. I'm about to give them a list of 5 categories with a set of questions attached. They've had no warning whatsoever of these topics and no chance to prepare. So let me give you today's choices. They are Glenn Miller and Benny Goodman, brothers and sisters, heads, shoulders, knees, and toes, opera at the movies, and plays set to music. Roger Mason, you're in the lead at the moment. What would you like?
Opera at the movies.
And for you, Bill.
Brothers and sisters, was it?
Brothers and sisters. That leaves 3 for Sue Bates, and they are Glenn Miller and Benny Goodman, heads, shoulders, knees, and toes, and plays set to music.
Head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
And so, Sue Bates, here come your specialist questions on heads, shoulders, knees, and toes. Which band, fronted by David Byrne, had hit songs in the 1980s that included And She Was, Once in a Lifetime, and Road to Nowhere?
Bread?
No, I'm sorry, it was Talking Heads. A piece of music for you to listen to now from Einstein on the Beach, an opera in 4 acts, and what the composer described as 5 knee plays. After you've heard the clip, can you tell me the name of that composer?
Get those 3 toes away from the gear shift. Oh, these are the days, my friends. And these are the days, my friends. 1, 2. It could get 6 away from these workers. 7, 6, 1, 7, 3, 9, 2, 1.
Philip Glass.
It is Philip Glass. His knee plays are brief interludes that provide time for scenery changes. Which 1936 musical by Rodgers and Hart features the ballet Slaughter on 10th Avenue?
No, it won't come.
On Your Toes. Please listen to this clip. Your question will follow.
Looking back over my shoulder, I can see that look in your eye. I never dreamed it could be over. I never wanted to say goodbye. Looking back over my shoulder with an aching deep in my heart.
The song is Over My Shoulder, a top 20 hit from 1995, written by Paul Carrack, whose vocal we heard, along with which founder member of Genesis?
No.
Mike Rutherford. The Three-Headed Dog, Cerberus, features in which 2-act opera bouffon by Jacques Offenbach?
Orpheus in the underworld.
Correct for 2 points. Listen to this, and your question will follow.
There's a rainbow round my shoulder and a sky of blue above. Oh, the sun shines brightest, the world is all right, 'cause I'm in love. Hallelujah, how the folks will stare when they see the diamond solitaire that my little sugar baby has a going to wear. Yes, sir! There's a rainbow round my shoulder and a sky of blue above. And I'm shouting.
That was the Broadway performer and star of the television series Homeland, Mandy Patinkin, singing There's a Rainbow Round My Shoulder. Can you tell me who sang the original 1928 version of that song in the film The Singing Fool?
Al Jolson.
That's right, for 2 points. Finally in this round, which song, popular with fans of West Ham United, is performed by members of the Spanish Inquisition on the 1971 album Another Monty Python Record?
Is that I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles?
I'm sorry, it's not. It's Knees Up, Mother Brown. And in that round, Sue Bates, you scored 6 points added to your previous point. You now have 7 points. Bill CAWLEY, here come your questions on brothers and sisters. At the turn of the 20th century, a songwriting team became synonymous with the sounds and style of the Jazz Age. They helped raise popular musical theater to a new level of sophistication, and their classic folk opera, Porgy and Bess, co-written with DuBose Hayward, is constantly revived in opera houses and theaters throughout the world. Who were they?
George and Ira Gershwin.
Correct. Music now from a famous sister and brother act. A question to follow.
Every sha-la-la-la, every woe still shines. All the oldies but goodies, every shing-a-ling-a-ling that they're starting to sing still fine. All my best memories come back clearly to me. Some can't even make me cry just like before. It's yesterday once more.
No points for knowing that was the Carpenters. Yesterday Once More was one of 7 top 10 hits in the UK for brother and sister Richard and Karen. For 2 points, can you name me any other 2 of their British top 10 singles?
Jambalaya, calling occupants of interplanetary craft.
What interesting selections. Actually, Calling Occupants of Interplanetary Craft was a top 10 hit, and you get a point, but Jambalaya was not. The others were Close to You, Goodbye to Love, Top of the World, Please Mr. Postman, and Only Yesterday. The folk band First Aid Kit, consisting of sisters Clara and Johanna Söderberg, was nominated for a Brit Award in 2015 for Best International Group. Which country are they from?
Iceland.
I'm sorry, it's not Iceland, it's Sweden. More music now from the album Lloyd Webber Plays Lloyd Webber, on which cellist Julian pays tribute to music associated with his older brother Andrew. Can you tell me which musical this is from?
Chess.
I'm sorry, that was not Chess, which was not composed by Andrew Lloyd Webber. That was from Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Among Sister Sledge's best-known hits in the 70s and 80s were Lost in Music, We Are Family, and He's the Greatest Dancer. Their career took off when they collaborated on all of these hits with Bernard Edwards and which other famous producer?
Quincy Jones.
Oh, I'm sorry, it was Nile Rodgers of the Chic Organization. More with the soul disco sound. I'd like you to name the brothers performing on this 1980 hit record. Stomp inspired the title of a long-running stage success, but what was the name of the duo?
The Bellamy Brothers.
Oh, I'm sorry, it wasn't the Bellamy Brothers of Let Your Love Flow fame. It was the Brothers Johnson. Finally, one of the all-time most successful groups made up of brothers and sisters was the Osmonds, with Donnie and Marie arguably their most famous members. Can you name me 2 of the other performing Osmonds?
Jay and Jimmy.
Jay and Jimmy, correct for 2 points. And so, Bill CAWLEY, in that round, you scored 5 points. Added to your previous 3, you now have 8 points. Roger Mason, here come your questions on opera at the movies. Who played the title role in the 1950s Hollywood film The Great Caruso, centered on the life of Enrico Caruso?
No, I'm sorry.
It was Mario Lanza. Some years before that film, this piece of pastiche opera had found its way into a film directed by Orson Welles. Which film?
No.
Oh, please. It's my favorite movie of all time. It was Citizen Kane. Walt Disney released his epic musical Fantasia in the same decade as Citizen Kane. Which dance sequence from Ponchielli's opera La Gioconda was featured in the film?
No.
The Dance of the Hours. The tune later adapted to Hello Mother, Hello Father. This opera aria acquired many new admirers when it was featured on the soundtrack of a stylish 1980s film thriller. Which film was this? That is from the film Diva. The aria is from the opera La Wally. Wilhelmina Wiggins Fernandez was the performer. Who directed the 1975 Swedish film production of Mozart's opera The Magic Flute?
I don't know.
Ingmar Bergman. Here's a fresh perspective on Wagnerian opera. Please name both of the two cartoon characters featured here.
Be my love.
Well, one of them was Bugs Bunny.
Correct for a point.
The other one I don't know.
We heard an excerpt from the cartoon short What's Opera Doc, which has been picked the #1 cartoon of all time in a poll conducted among professional animators. And that was from What's Opera Doc, and the other voice was?
Elmer Fudd.
Elmer Fudd. Your last question on opera at the movies. Which Verdi opera was famously sabotaged by the Marx Brothers in the final scene of the film A Night at the Opera?
La Traviata.
Oh, I'm sorry. It was Il Trovatore. And so, Roger Mason, in that round you scored 1 point. Added to your previous 7, you now have 8 points. After the individual round, let's recap on how the scores now stand. In third place with 7 points is Sue Bates, and tied with 8 points, Bill CAWLEY and Roger Mason. It couldn't be closer. It's on the buzzer in the quick-fire final round. Things can change quickly. A correct answer wins you 1 point, but you lose a point if you buzz in and fail to answer correctly. There are no bonuses. So, fingers poised, and here we go. What title is usually given to Vaughan Williams' 7th Symphony? Bill CAWLEY.
Antarctic.
That's right. Which pirate radio station began broadcasting off Felixstowe at the end of March 1964? And Bill CAWLEY says?
Caroline.
For the point. Still in use today, Pop Looks Bach by Sam Fontaine is the theme tune to which seasonal BBC sports program? Sue Bates says?
Ski Sunday night.
And she's right.
Oh.
Which British singer took Don't Cry For Me Argentina from Evita to #1? And Bill CAWLEY says?
Elaine Page.
No, -1. It was Julie Covington. Which orchestra was specially created for the conductor Arturo Toscanini? Roger Mason.
NBC Symphony.
That's right. In which country was the tenor Rolando Villazon born? Roger Mason.
Spain.
No, it was Mexico, -1. Which London jazz club originally opened in Gerrard Street in 1959? Bill CAWLEY.
Ronnie Scott's.
That's correct. Which Gilbert and Sullivan opera features the song with the refrain, "Let the punishment fit the crime"? And Sue Bates says,
Mikado.
for a point. Whose music forms the basis of the various versions of the ballet Les Sylphides? Sue Bates.
Delibes.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Chopin, -1. Which regular BBC Six music presenter found fame with the rock group Catatonia? Bill CAWLEY.
Cerys Matthews.
That is correct. What does the musical term glissando mean? Glissando means sliding from one note to the other. Which Wagner opera features the Venusberg music? Roger Mason says,
Tannhauser.
and he's right. Which American group's albums include There's a Riot Going On and Dance to the Music? Bill
Sly
CAWLEY.
and the Family Stone.
That is it. Who played Cole Porter in the Hollywood biopic Night and Day? And Sue Bates says,
It wasn't Tyrone Power, was it?
it wasn't Tyrone Power. It was Cary Grant, -1. And finally, Ann Jones became a widow in March in 2018 when her 90-year-old husband passed away, bringing an end to their marriage of just 2 days. Who was he? Roger Mason.
Ken Dodd.
That is correct for a point. Bringing us to the end of today's heat of Counterpoint. The final scores are as follows. Third with 7 points is Sue Bates. Runner-up with 10 points is Roger Mason. And our winner with 12 points is Bill CAWLEY. Many congratulations to Bill CAWLEY, who'll be returning in a few short weeks for the semifinals. My thanks and commiserations to the other two of you. That was close. Don't forget, you can see all of the music played in today's program listed on our pages on the Radio 4 website. That's where you can also request an application form to become a contestant in a future series. We'll be here in Salford again in a few weeks' time, but next week's contest will be coming from London with another 3 music lovers playing Counterpoint. Until then, thank you for listening. Goodbye.